Hey, everybody. What are you calling them now, Patrick?
The Time Splitters.
Our Time Splitters. I love it. And it was an awesome video game on PS2.
That's where I got it from.
Don't tell them because we won't get sued. Nobody's fucking playing that game anymore. Hey, welcome to yet another episode of Sideways in Time. Not only another episode, but baby, we are in the double digits. We are in episode 10 today, Patrick, and
We made it.
We made it. Now, from here, maybe downhill. But no, it's super cool. I'm excited to be at our 10th episode. It's a small milestone, but it's a milestone. Hey, by the way, over here, my buddy Patriot Pat, everybody, say hello.
Hello.
There you go. I was prompting you to say hello because they can't tell us hello unless they say it in the comments, which you never do.
Yeah, I know. What the fuck?
Anyway, it's okay. You don't have to. We would just really like you better if you did. We have a fun show. As you can see, the backdrop, assuming you're watching us on YouTube right now, which you should be, you'll see that we changed the background up a little bit. And why is that, Patrick?
Well, we are recording this on the 11th month of the 11th day, a little past the 11th, actually during the 11th hour.
Yep.
So if you know your history, that's Veterans Day. And I just blipped around. What are you doing? So yeah. So Luch made this beautiful, red, white, and blue display. He's a sweetheart. And I am a veteran, so I got my free Hy-Vee breakfast today. And I'm gonna munch on my Lamar's donut a little later, and everything I try to show you disappears.
They don't want us to see that label.
So, yeah.
What kind of donut is
it? It's devil's food.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So yeah, needless to say, happy Veterans Day, everybody.
Happy Veterans Day.
That's awesome. I knew it was coming up, and then I completely spaced on what day it actually was, and then we normally record the podcast on Wednesday. Being me as usual, I had to try to switch some things around, and Patrick was nice enough to let us do this during his day. So,
well, yeah, Chris was like, "Do you mind if we do it Thursday?" And I was like, "Dude, Thursday's Veterans Day. I'm gonna be running around getting them a free shit." And then I'm like, "Wait a second. I'm gonna go get breakfast, come home, eat it, take a nap, go out get lunch." Yeah, I think we're hitting B-dubs and getting some boneless wings.
Oh dang.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, it sounds like it's going to be a glorious day, and hopefully that reflects on this episode. So we're going to change things up a little bit again. We're going to have a what if at the end of the episode this time. It's been a couple weeks, so figured it'd be a good one to do. And otherwise, we're basically going to be talking about AEW for the rest of the show. So, but before we get to that, we've also got a band from Ringside JCB rant for the week. But Patrick brought up a good segment to kind of discuss, because then there is a list of these people that I was kind of surprised about, and either I knew or didn't know. But we'll call it Stars and Stripes. We're going to talk about professional wrestlers who have also served, being that it is Veterans Day. So, Patrick, you want to lead us with this one?
Yeah. So I was trying to find a full list, and it's from Pro Wrestling Wiki. So some of these, I'm not going to go through all of them because there's 100 or so, but some of them are surprising, and some of them are foreign, but they're still a veteran. So yeah, I'm counting it. Yeah. It's our fucking show, so I say I count it.
I'm with you on that one.
So let's see. Afa. I didn't know Afa had served. Arnold Scotland.
I'm trying to think of who that was.
He's old school,
okay.
60s.
Oh, gotcha.
Ashante Adonis in Hit Row. Big Swole, wife of Cedric Alexander.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Bullet Bob Armstrong. Let's see, who else? Crimson from TNA.
Really?
I didn't know he had served. Yeah, and like everybody knows Road Dogg was in, but yeah, Crimson shocked me. I was like, really? Freddie Blassie, he was in the Navy in World War II.
No shit.
And let's see. Oh, I crossed that guy out because he murdered his girlfriend and stuff. So we're not going to give him any time. Yeah, everybody knows Jackson Riker, Jesse Ventura. Jason Prime. You're going, who the hell is Jason Prime? Primate from NXT UK. He served in the British Army.
That's cool.
And that dude is jacked. He is one scary looking dude. Michael DiBiase, Ted DiBiase's dad, or Ted DiBiase's grandpa, depending on which one. Right. Everybody knows Montez has served. The original Ox Baker.
Yep.
Perry Saturn.
Which was another one that surprised me, the Perry Saturn one. I mean,
you didn't know? Oh, I knew. Yeah, he was I think he was a ranger.
He was Army Ranger.
But he was badass. In fact, he was where I was stationed in Fort Benning. He would have been right across the street from me at Ranger School. Years before.
Should we count Randy Orton?
No, I crossed him out because he was dishonorably discharged and he served time for going AWOL. Fuck him. But we will count Tama Tonga, Stu Hart, who served in the Canadian Army, and Trisha Dora, indie star. So that's, it's not the full list, but those are the ones that kind of stuck out to me. Yeah.
I mean, there was also a few that were like I knew and had forgotten. So Bobby Lashley is one. This list here says Conan, and
I saw that too. Yeah,
Navy, I think. For a while. It even says Kevin Nash served for a time.
He did. He was in Germany. He was an MP.
That's crazy. And then like some of the newer ones, like obviously Lacey Evans, and that's an easy one because she works it into her gimmick. Steven Cutler.
Yep.
You said Jackson. Corporal Kirchner.
Corporal Kirchner, Sergeant Craig Pittman, Sergeant Slaughter.
Yeah, there's I mean, it's and it did, when I think about it, it doesn't really surprise me that the list is as large as it is. Like when you come home and you're in great shape and you've got all these connections, like if you've got, if you're still going to the gym, however, all these connections happen to get them into the wrestling business. Some of them were possibly already connected to wrestling that just decided, like Kevin Nash, I thought I remember hearing his story where he was like, look, man, I want to do that, but while I'm trying to figure it out, I might as well go do this and serve my time and come back and see what happens from there. But yeah, it's not something that I think about all the time, but there are an extensive amount of ex and current pro wrestlers who've served. So that's super cool. After Road Dogg's another one I always forget about.
Yeah, I knew Road Dogg because after him and Double J split, they were doing his thing, and he was talking about how he's in Desert Storm and stuff.
Oh yeah, I do remember that promo. Interesting. Yeah, so that's super cool. And there was a few of them, like you said, that we definitely remembered, and then there was a few that I had for me personally, I had no clue Perry Saturn served. That's crazy. I had no idea it was a Ranger.
I didn't know Big Swole served. I had heard of her, and then I clicked on her, and I didn't know she was married to Cedric Alexander. I was like, oh, I'm learning all kinds of stuff.
I want to say that I had heard that before, but it wasn't something that stuck with me. But it's super cool. I guess from there we can, because we got a lot of AEW to talk about. Pretty much the whole rest of the episode is dedicated to AEW.
There was a lot that happened. Yeah.
It's been a good few weeks honestly, since what was the last pay-per-view? All Out,
All In, All Out.
All Out.
I get those confused because All In was the first pre-AEW one. Yeah.
Yes, which actually we'll talk about a little bit later. But so before we get into all that, I want to go ahead and drop the band from Ringside, Jason Cornelius Bell rant of the week. It's an interesting one. It has to do with WWE, which obviously we don't talk a whole lot about. And when we do, normally I cut it out of the audio version of the podcast because we just end up going into this hole where we repeat ourselves over and over about how much we can't stand certain things that they're doing. And this would be one of those if we decided to elaborate on it. So without further ado, JCB, take it over for us, bud.
He's heating up. This is Band from Ringside.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy JCB, Jason Cornelius Bell. I'm back with my weekly rant. This week's rant is about the Survivor Series. You know, Survivor Series used to be one of my favorite pay-per-views of all time. You had Undertaker's debut. You had some interesting, teams from the past, 5-on-5 crime, basically, where you could set up some potential feuds going on to the end of the match, in between, during, whatever the case may be. This year's Survivor Series is coming up in a couple weeks, and they just announced the teams on Twitter. Could you be any more lazy than that? I mean, I get it. Bill always says that the Survivor Series should be replaced by the Money in the Bank as the fourth big pay-per-view. If you're going to book it like this, then why not do it? I don't even care about the Raw versus SmackDown brand supremacy thing. If you want to do that, say that for the championships, title versus title. Big E versus Roman sounds really good to me. I don't necessarily care about Charlotte and Becky Lynch. That is what it is. We've seen that 15 trillion times. But if you want to do the Survivor Series 5-on-5 matches, do it like you did back in the day. You could just have Raw teams versus Raw teams, and then somehow, and this might take a little creative, WWE, you can just have the angles from Raw all in one match, so that way you can extend those angles and move it forward, versus doing Raw versus SmackDown after we just did a draft about a month ago, where now, some people moved, other people didn't. Some people don't give a shit about that at this point. You've been on a brand for a month if you got drafted to the other brand. Now all of a sudden you want to go to war for that brand. Get the fuck out of here, dude. Okay, that's that simple lazy shit. That's all I ever ask from WWE is A, not be lazy, and B, make it make sense. This is strikes 2 and 3 in the words of Ricky Bobby, because they didn't do either or. This your boy JCB. I'm out.
This is Banned from Ringside.
And welcome back. I don't disagree. The way they've handled Survivor Series is kind of like how they handle the King of the Ring at this point. I mean, we're lucky we even got a King of the Ring back to begin with, but it's clear they don't give much shits or too many shits about what they're doing and how to build these things. But to their defense, they don't really have to. People are going to watch and talk about it regardless at this point. So good on them. But yeah, go ahead.
It seems like it's a build to Royal Rumble, then it's a build to WrestleMania. Yep. And then nothing else matters until the build to Royal Rumble.
SummerSlam, most of the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
The only other.
Yeah. Okay. I will give you SummerSlam. Then after SummerSlam, nothing matters.
Nope.
Until Royal Rumble.
Crown Jewel. Kidding. Totally kidding. So yeah, again, thank you, JCB, at BFR JCB on Twitter, at BFR Pod, at BFR Bill, at BFR Zach with an H, at BFR My Dog is Barking. That's kidding. I'm just kidding. So here in just a second, we're going to get into the results from a little bit of talk about Rampage and the CM Punk Kingston promo specifically. And then we will also further our AEW discussion from there. So we might as well get started on that. People are still talking about it, and granted, it hasn't been a full week. But the CM Punk Eddie Kingston promo from Rampage that started with CM Punk's kind of rant promo from Dynamite in KC the week prior, or a few days prior, has been one of the most compelling battles back and forth that I've seen or heard in a long time. So on Rampage, Punk and Kingston start to get into a little bit, and they bring up some history, and there was more raw energy and emotion in that promo than I've seen in a long time. And there's some connections to some things that I'll discuss here in a second. Patrick, go ahead and get us started on how that got going here for just a second.
Okay. That's code for Chris has to take care of his dog. yeah, Punk does the promo on Moxley and stuff, and everybody cheers Mox. I was, in KC, we were there, and then at Rampage, Daniel Bryan beat Eddie Kingston in one of the best losses ever. Just the flipping you off while you're passing out. It was great because it was just like, fuck you, you didn't beat me, or I didn't give up, so to speak. But yeah, having Punk backstage, and if you do watch the thing, Punk had a smirk on his face. Punk kind of always does have a smirk on his face. If you're listening and not watching, Luch is back. Bones has been taken care of. Not in a
he's not dead yet.
Saints of Newark take care of, but in a loving pet owner take care. Not in a Halloween Kills take care of. We made it 4 weeks in a row with mentioning it.
God, what a garbage movie. Anyways,
so Punk did have a smirk on his face, but in Punk's defense, he kind of always has that smirk on his face.
It's almost
like
always has that, like a nervous tick, like he can't help but smile, like kind of thing.
But yeah, it's always and Eddie Kingston comes back, and you're fuming hot, you're mad. I mean, he's half Puerto Rican, half Irish. We're not talking long temper fuses there. So so he comes back and bitches Punk out, and Punk tries to be diplomatic and stuff, and I think diplomacy's out the window with Kingston. He's just
so far this has been, and we haven't even gotten to it yet, like this has been my favorite thing CM Punk has done since he's been back, because there's someone. So that promo on Friday was fantastic. It's more specifically on Kingston's end for obvious reasons. He just went off, and it felt.
Wait, are we talking the interruption backstage or the in-ring?
In-ring. The interruption was dope too.
That was Wednesday.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. But yeah, it was nuts. It was nice to have someone with Punk who could almost out-Punk him.
I think he can out-talk Punk.
Oh, 100%.
Just having that New York sense about. I mean, you could throw Bully Ray in there, or Taz, or anybody that's not that top level wrestling superstar, right. But from New York, you're gonna have that attitude that don't give a fuck, and
So there's one thing that I wanted to bring up about this back and forth with them, and that promo in the ring specifically between the two of them. Apparently, and I didn't see this until just recently, like I think actually this morning, but it's kind of a cool thing, and I almost wonder if it's something that they planned with this feud, or whatever it is. First of all, before I even get into that, I don't know who I'm supposed to cheer in this one, because Kingston's so emotional and going back so far that I'm rooting for him, but Punk is supposed to be like this ultimate good guy right now. So I'm really having a hard time deciding who I'm supposed to not like in this scenario. And the glory of it is I don't have to decide. I this is going to be dope. I'm really excited for this match. That being said, though, and I'm going to read word for word what this article says, because I'll jumble it up if I don't. But on thesportster.com, there's an article that the caption is, Eddie Kingston reveals CM Punk John Cena promo parallels were no accident. So apparently people have been talking about how that promo had a lot of flavor from the Punk Cena promo. And this is the quote. It says, fans pointed out parallels between Punk's heated promo battles with John Cena now Kingston, highlighting that 10 years later, it's Punk in Cena's role. The similarity between the two segments were no accident either. Kingston revealed as much to Give Me Sports Louis Dangor, calling it an Easter egg. So this is another fun part about AEW, is they're filled with a younger generation who is raised on things like Easter eggs being commonplace. And there's not been a whole lot of that in wrestling, other than most recently things like Bray Wyatt, always throwing little Easter eggs and come find me kind of things. And it's kind of cool. It's clear in this scenario that Punk would be the Cena because he's the griddled vet. Even at that time, Cena wasn't really, but he still played that role. Grizzled vet, not griddled. I don't know what that. I'm kind of hungry.
I was gonna let it slide. Fuck it.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
And and Kingston being the fired up, emotional, fuck you one of the two. It's super compelling. Like I've had nothing but good things to say about this entire back and forth between them.
Well, and Kingston is even more the indie darling that Punk was, because Kingston, if I'm not mistaken, this is his first major promotion that he's ever worked for.
100%.
He's never worked for like even like like Ring of Honor or anything like that. I mean,
I was watching him wrestle at, I forget what the venue is called. It was a little like BW hall in St. Louis for Glory Pro and Anarchy and shit like that. Like, and everybody worshipped him on that level, but there wasn't very many people, especially not common wrestling viewers and fans, knew who he was before AEW, before that TNT title match against Cody.
Yeah. There's an article that he talks about everything. I don't know what it's called, but if you just scroll it, search for Eddie Kingston, you'll come up. It's really good. That's wonderful information I'm giving you. I don't know what it's called. I'm not going to tell you what it says.
Oh, the article?
Look for it. Yeah, the really long article.
It's literally go on Twitter and type in Eddie Kingston. It was trending. It had to have been trending for like 2 days straight. And it is. It's a very wonderful read.
Yeah, it's like it's probably equivalent to like 5-10 pages somewhere in there of like a book. It's a long one. So, if you ate a lot of cheese and you're sitting on the toilet, or you're going on your work break to poop, and boss make $1, you make a dime. That's why you shit on company time. Read that article then.
Getting paid to poop.
Yeah. Here's a fun fact too. If you take a 10-minute poop, 5 days a week, you will get a 40-hour paid vacation at the end of the year.
Oh, that's such bullshit.
I did the math, and it equals 40 hours.
Nice.
If you take a 10-minute poop every day, these are.
I mean, see, that's the thing. I don't think I spend an entire 10 minutes pooping.
No, I don't. But yeah. I mean, I spend however long it is, and then the rest of the time I'm, playing games or something.
What are we talking about right now? Where did this conversation go?
I don't know. Talking about Eddie Kingston being shit.
Okay, so it says Eddie Kingston got no business fucking being here. Is the article. And literally go to Eddie Kingston's Twitter. He's got a link for it. Otherwise, literally all I did was type in Eddie Kingston in the search bar, and it was.
I was stalling so you could look up. I was giving dogs some fuel to.
That's why I got you, buddy. Because you're just the best at what you do. And speaking of that, it's funny. I should be getting it today. Maybe, hopefully, before I go to work today. I caved and I bought Moxley's book.
Nice.
It was $18 on Amazon.
I have a birthday and Christmas coming up, so I'm not allowed to buy anything for myself,
especially wrestling.
But the birthday fairy might have something for me. So
I think she enjoys Casey, his wife, by the way. I think she enjoys buying you wrestling stuff almost as much, if not more, than you enjoy having wrestling stuff.
No, I think it's more. I mean, I love having it, but yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah. That's so cool. Considering she wasn't really even she didn't watch wrestling all that much before.
No, she knew Hulk Hogan, Steve Austin, and she thought Steve Austin and Goldberg were the same person, and she thought the NWO was a wrestling company.
Hey,
and that's kind of like all she knew.
She's come a long way
until we met. Yeah. Now she got Excalibur retweeting her signs.
She's gonna end up getting a Luchasaurus tattoo on her entire back. Like,
yeah.
All right, yeah. So anyway, but yeah, so that whole thing has been fantastic, and and then okay, so just to kind of transition, I guess. So Dynamite this week, there was a really good card because obviously it's the go home show, so a lot of shit happened, and there was a couple of things that really stood out to me as great I wouldn't say one of those two, but speaking of Punk and Kingston, their little backstage battle. And
that was funny.
I lost it. Seeing Eddie, I don't know why, but seeing Eddie Kingston run at full speed just cracked me up. And that's nothing against him. And I don't think I'm alone on that. I'm pretty sure I've seen other people post that as well. Like, I don't know. It's just, I feel like that's going to become a fucking huge meme soon. Because that shit was hilarious.
Just it's almost like, somebody told a dad that, like, hey, Jim down the street, he's doing up and down instead of diagonal on the lawnmower. Oh, hell no, I'm going.
Yeah.
Oh, Bill said he's not going to return your hedge clipper. Oh, hell no, I'm.
Yeah, that was hilarious. But again, another thing, they didn't really need an entire segment on the show or go out to cut another promo. As a matter of fact, they could have just had that video package and didn't even have them backstage because they didn't need this Dynamite. They had last week's shenanigans was enough to hold people over and make them boil for more for the pay-per-view. So they did more than they needed.
This would be like, this little segment was like, everything was like the Sunday that you were getting ready to devour on Saturday. Exactly. And this little vignette was like, putting a couple sprinkles or like some sparkly sugar on top of the whipped cream and stuff.
Exactly.
You didn't need it, but it was just like, oh yeah, that's why this is awesome. My favorite part of that thing was seeing Ruby Soho trying to hold back Eddie Kingston.
Yeah.
No offense to Ruby, but
you're gonna get accidentally elbowed in the face.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna stop Eddie Kingston. I mean,
I'd watch that match though.
Oh yeah, but Punk had Sean Dean and Dustin and stuff holding him back.
Hey, she's punk rock. You don't understand.
Oh no, I love Ruby. I'm just.
I know.
He would freight train over her.
Yeah.
With
maybe they did it on purpose, knowing that he's a nice guy. He wouldn't like hit her. Maybe they planted her on purpose for that reason. Probably.
Yeah. I love Eddie more and more. So you were saying you don't know who to root for. I do. Fuck Punk. I'm sick of him. I'm over Punk.
I'm not even. It's not that I'm over Punk. I'm over face Punk. I want heel Punk.
Yeah.
But Eddie,
I can see Punk coming out as a heel.
Yeah, Eddie needs more. He needs it more.
But I think I don't think he's going to win. I think he's going to go over without getting over.
He does
over without going over, whichever.
Yeah. I totally agree.
But yeah, I think Punk's going to win, and I don't think it's going to be clean. And and the more I'm thinking about it, I mean, I don't want to see Punk in the top tier main event anymore. I don't want to see Daniel Bryan in the top tier anymore. I might be in the minority and stuff, but I'm just
Daniel
like,
Bryan's a hard one.
Yeah, but I saw this shit in WWE. Bryan's already been to the mountaintop how many times? I know Miro was a WWE guy, but I don't think he will, but I really want Miro to win because I think Miro.
Before you get into those predictions,
okay,
we can go over that in the next segment.
Okay. So I will sum it up. I don't want to see the top tier WWE guys coming in and just being top tier AEW guys right away. In a year, okay, but
thing is though, in a year they'll be basically ready to start moving up their homegrown talent. So having these big names in now probably makes more sense in the long run for the younger talent. Because I'm not saying like Darby and Jungle Boy and stuff have to be in there, but there are other options. Oh, there are. You're right.
You could give Dustin a run for Christ's sake.
But look what they did with Jericho. So Jericho comes in to be the guy, the champion. Once he lost the title, he's still on TV every week, but he's not a top player. He's in one of their top 3 or 4 storylines. But he's not the top guy anymore. And I feel like that's what they're going to slowly do, because a lot of these guys like Bryan Danielson and those guys, like, he can go still. He's not, he didn't think he was supposed to.
I'm not denying that.
But I know. My point being is just that he only has a few more years probably anyway in his prime. So get their primes out of the way now. And then by the time they're ready to transition out, they've got the room for their younger guys like Darby and Jungle Boy and those types. That's my theory on why they're bringing these guys in now, because Punk's not going to be around wrestling full time in 5 years. I guarantee it.
Nah, he's probably got maybe 2 or 3.
Right. He may still be in the business and in that company for years coming, but I don't see him being an active guy. He'll be a big show. You know, he'll come in and do some high caliber matches from time to time. Probably he'll based on what his experience has been thus far, that company, I see him wanting to stick around to help the younger talent, whether he's in the ring or not with them. So time wise, I think it makes sense to boost these guys, to put more eyes on their product, because that is helping, since Punk and Bryan Danielson have been there, Adam Cole as well, but those two specifically, it has helped them tremendously. And then once they get all those viewers from them coming in this early, then maybe they'll stick around to see all these younger talent later. You know, that's just the way, I don't know. That's the way I see it. But
no, I understand. I understand why they're doing it. I'm just saying I don't want it. You know?
Fair enough.
You know, I see all the logic, and I agree with everything you're saying. I'm just saying that, you know, I want to see, and I can see in 6-8 months a lot of these younger talent getting a lot of pushes and stuff,
right.
And but I think there's you probably have enough top tier talent that you can, you know,
right.
So I don't know.
You're not
wrong. That's just my opinion.
Well, and so that kind of goes into what I was going to bring up next. It was the other thing that stood out the most. Well, one of the things that stood out the most to me from this week's Dynamite was, and maybe I'm thinking, I don't know, I could be overthinking this. I also missed bits and pieces of the show because I had it on last night when I got home from work and was trying to get some other things done at the same time. But main event was Dax Hardwood with Tully Blanchard versus Pac. And it was fucking awesome. Of course it was. Those two together are like, it's another one of those, like, I don't know why I didn't think about it before, but they're perfect together. A lot of gnarly back and forth. Ultimately, Pac wins. Pac. Ultimately, he wins, and he's got the, what's it called? The brutalizer. The submission.
Yeah, it's like the rings of Saturn.
Yes, but he won't let go of it, so Cash comes out to attack him, and then the lights go out. And this is where I think I'm overthinking it. Maybe I'm not, knowing how AEW is sometimes. Like, both the lights go out, they come back on, and the two people in the ring are Malachi Black and Andrade, who have both been teasing a stable of some kind, House of Black, and Andrade hasn't really said anything specific, but are they gonna be in cahoots, or is this just because of storyline? Because if Andrade and Alistair or Malachi Black become a thing, that's gonna be insane.
Yeah, but I think you need, you know, in some of the factions, you can have a hodgepodge. You look at the Hardy Family Office, you look at Inner Circle, the Pinnacle, you know, you could have, but in something like House of Black, that's a little more nuanced, you need some similarity. And I mean, Andrade, I do not see fitting in. I could see them, you know, I mean, Darby would fit in, just that brooding character. I could see them bringing in some, signing some talent, some release talent from Ring of Honor or WWE, like Big Damo. Well, I see Big Damo coming in and, just in his Killian Dane role, he was Insanity.
Right. Or even better, that's basically like what Miro is, basically Rusev, but way more fucking bad.
Yeah. The next Pokemon evolution of it.
Right. Well, you got like just Abaddon.
Abaddon would be great. Well, yeah, just like fucking Alistair Black is or Malachi is a big evolution of Alistair.
So then why was Malachi Black there then? Because the feud, the connection is Cash is FTR and Andrade at the moment. and MJF obviously, and then the feud Andrade Pac, right? So
Mhm.
where's Malachi Black fit in on this then? Hello? Hello? I might have lost you.
Shit.
Oh, there you are.
Oh, okay. Did I freeze up?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh,
So
my internet connection is unstable.
that's all right. Well, you're kind of freezing up now too a little bit.
Oh, wait. Let me. Usually, if I turn my Wi-Fi off, it helps.
Okay.
Um,
So the last thing I
Sure.
asked was why is Malachi Black a part of this?
okay. So you got FTR working with Andrade,
Right.
and they were kind of helping Malachi too. And then they're with Tully,
Right.
And then you have Arn
Oh,
working
okay.
with
Okay.
Cody.
Yeah, all
And
right. I see what
so
you're saying.
Cody and it's a little convoluted.
It is, but
I
now
mean,
that you say that, it makes sense though.
So they're setting up the Arn and Tully.
You already said it. So MJF versus Darby is at Full Gear.
Mm-hmm.
Are they maybe going to tie Darby in with? Well, they're not going to do that yet either because they got Sting and they haven't really aimed towards Sting not being around. So they're not going to put Sting
Yeah,
with
and
Malachi.
I don't. And Darby, I was just saying his character would fit into a faction.
I think
but
that would be awesome.
But
personally,
at this
but-
point, he's so much of a name himself.
True.
Just like
They don't.
I
need
mean,
him
like
yet.
throwing Adam Cole in as a lackey in the Elite. I'm like, he was the leader of the Undisputed Era Night.
He was the leader of the Bullet Club.
Yeah. So I don't see that lasting.
Well, that's going to be the implosion of the Super Elite, is what it's going to come to. 'Cause Kenny, and I'll talk about this. I should wait because about
Okay.
Kenny.
Yeah, and I got an idea about it too. So okay, so what? Let's
let's
table
just go
all
into
that,
that.
and we'll move on. Huh?
Yeah, let's move on to Full Gear.
Okay, we're going all in on Full Gear.
Yeah,
Double or nothing.
double or nothing. So I'll run through the card real quick, and then we'll kind of pick
There's
it apart.
no way out.
Yeah, so we'll pick it apart after I get through the card. So we've got
We sold out.
son of a bitch. I keep thinking I'm muted or something because you're just calling things out.
This is a December to dismember.
November to remember. So we've got
November
Rose.
rain.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Shut up. Oh God. So we've got Nyla Rose with Vicky Guerrero and Jamie Hayter, versus with Rebel and Britt Baker versus Sheeta and Thunder Rosa in a tag team match. It's pretty stacked. That's actually going to probably be a pretty badass match. Then we've got Kenny Omega with the Elite versus Hangman Adam Page. And I'll come back to that. That's for the AEW World Championship. Britt Baker with Rebel and Jamie Hayter versus Ty Conte and Anna Jay with Anna Jay. This one, Brian Danielson versus Miro. And it's the final in the World Championship Eliminator Tournament to determine the number one contender. Basically, then we've got Inner Circle versus the Men of the Year and ATT. After Wednesday, I'm actually more excited for this than I was previously because with Dan Lambert putting Jericho through the table and all that.
God, that was the ugliest power bomb.
It was, but we'll come back to that too. So then we've got the Lucha Brothers versus FTR for the AEW Tag Team Championships. Zero Mero. Darby Allin with Sting versus MJF with Wardlow. CM Punk versus Eddie Kingston, banger. Christian Cage and Jurassic Express versus the Super Click, and that's a Falls Count Anywhere match. So that should be interesting.
That's my sleeper match. I think that could steal the show.
Same. And then of course we've got Pac versus Cody Rhodes, or I'm sorry, Pac and Cody Rhodes with Arn Anderson versus Malachi Black and Andrade. Could also be a sleeper. Like, I know it shouldn't be a sleeper, but it's going to be fun. This card is really good, and I'm still bummed that it's not in St. Louis. So I'm going to skip over a few. One of the ones I wanted to talk about, and we'll jump right into that since we just discussed it, was Kenny Omega versus Hangman. The reason I say that Adam Cole could be the main component, maybe not the main component, but he's going to play a part in the Super Elite or the Super Click, whatever you want to call them, imploding, is because my prediction is that Hangman's taking the title. I feel like I'm going to be wrong about that, but I think it's time. I think Kenny's had it for what feels like forever.
Yeah, he's had it for about a year. Okay, I'm going to write down the predictions.
Okay, so let's start with the top then. Let's go with Nyla Rose versus Jamie Hayter versus Sheeta and Thunder Rosa. I'm going to go with Nyla Rose and Jamie Hayter.
Okay.
Because I don't know, I still feel like they're putting Thunder Rosa in chase mode for the title. For the women's title. So I think if they lose this one, it's just going to make Nyla Rose hasn't really been doing a whole lot other than Dark and Dark Elevation. It seems like lately she's been around, but I don't know. So that's my prediction for this one is Nyla Rose and Jamie Hayter. Patrick's cold as ice. He's frozen. He's what's it called? The snowman from Frozen.
Okay.
All right. So
Olaf?
Yeah, you're Olaf because you're frozen. Can you hear me, bud?
I can.
Okay. Yeah, you've been freezing up a little bit. So who do you got for that?
Okay. I think everybody in my fucking house is on the internet. So okay, so we both choose Nyla and Hayter.
Okay, so number 2, Kenny Omega versus Hangman Adam Page. I've got Hangman Adam Page.
We're going the same on that.
Okay. Next, we've got Britt Baker versus Ty Conti for the AEW Women's World Championship. I'm gonna go with Britt Baker.
We're the same on that.
I feel the same about Ty Conti that I feel about Adam Page to an extent. I think she'll get it down the road, but either that, what they should do is, in all honesty, they should be putting the TBS title on Ty Conti soon. Let her run with that, show that she can be a champion, and then give her another round of AEW Women's Championship match. That's just my view. Bryan Danielson versus Miro for the final. This one's tough, if I'm being totally honest, because per our discussion earlier, Daniel Bryan's already primed as a top guy. So him being fast-tracked to the world title picture is kind of a bummer in AEW standards. If it was WWE, it would make sense. That's just what they do. They do whatever they want, and anybody can challenge anybody in at any time. With the ranking system they have in place, though, Daniel Bryan can fast-track that ranking system by beating Miro in this eliminator.
And that's why they have this tournament, is so Daniel Bryanson can win. So I'm going Daniel Bryanson. Bryan Danielson.
I'm going to go with Miro.
Oh, shit.
Because, again, in AEW fashion, their surprises are really good. And Miro, now that he's lost the TNT title, has lost a little bit of, they need something to monster him up again.
A little bit of a shine.
The only other thing is that if Bryan Danielson wins, Miro's going to come out ahead by after the post-match beating the living shit out of him and taking him out for a while, almost possibly like ruining a chance for him to win the title down the line. Like, if this is going to turn into a feud, I'm all for Bryan Danielson winning this, but I would prefer to see Miro get that shot. And he just
I would prefer Miro, but I'm going Danielson. I'm going head above heart on this one.
Yeah, I get it. Inner Circle versus Man of the Year and ATT. What do you got?
Inner Circle doesn't need it, but Jericho didn't need to beat MJF.
Yeah.
And
this one, it's a little easier for me on this one, but
I think I'm going to go Inner Circle just because they're the fan favorites.
so I'm going Inner Circle as well. And it's only because I feel like Inner Circle does need it. Jericho didn't. Inner Circle kind of does. Because otherwise, what are they even still doing? Now, there's always the factor of, well, they're not really even feuding with MJF and the Pinnacle anymore. So I don't see that playing much of a role. That would be way too overbooked to have two.
Yeah, I'm glad that feud is over.
Yeah, I mean, it was cool, but
it was great. It was just they cut it off just as it was starting to get old. They were like, okay, we'll have the blow off.
But same can be said about the Inner Circle for me personally. I get why they're a thing, because otherwise everybody but like Sammy Guevara kind of just is floating around, not with much else to do, because I'm not a big Jake Hager fan regardless. Santana and Ortiz should be booked to the fucking moon, but I think maybe they're waiting on them. Maybe
I think so too.
That's going to come. And I think when it does, it'll have a huge payoff. And Jericho is Jericho. Like, I love Chris Jericho, the character, but what else is there for him to do if he's not in the title picture? So keeping the Inner Circle thing makes sense. So I'm going Inner Circle. And that's a Minneapolis street fight, by the way. I forgot to mention that earlier. And then
how does that differ from like a New York street fight?
I'm sure they mentioned it on a promo that I wasn't listening to.
Fucking loot fish or something.
Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Minnesota.
It's a.
You hit them and you go, oh, don't you know?
They're gonna say,
"Oh golly gee, I just hit you in the head, don't you know?"
It's a how about you now street fight. So we're not Canadian, eh? We're not. We're Americans. So the next one up is for the AEW Tag Team Championships. We have the Lucha Brothers versus FTR. I am going with Lucha Bros. Lucha Bros. Zero Miro.
We agree again.
Woo! Yeah.
I don't.
Now again, FTR is going to get their day, but they have some plastic lunch tray titles right now. So,
and they weren't they already AEW Tag Team Champs?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean they can get 2-time.
Before I started watching, so
yeah.
And I don't see them taking both straps off Lucha Brothers.
No, I don't think so either. And honestly, even though they've done well with the titles, I still don't think they've done a lot with those titles. And I think maybe it's the language barrier thing. Maybe I'm way off on that, but I feel like AEW cares about their tag teams, and that's obvious. But I don't know. There's either something brewing in the background with the Lucha Bros, or they're just making sure they put those titles on them because they deserve it, and whatever it may be. But I don't know. I think the Lucha Brothers need to hold on to them for a little while longer.
I think they're setting up for a longer run for them, and I think having Alex Abrahantes is brilliant because just Penta says, I love that.
Yeah.
So I see them having it for a while. And
the only other thing that people could bitch about is that, okay, so FTR goes over to AEW and loses all the time. But the difference is here compared to WWE is that their losses here haven't really hurt them. They're still their storytelling still. They're still like, you can lose every fucking match and still tell a coherent story. And I think that's part of what they wanted to do. They wanted to work with the people they wanted to work with, and they wanted to make sure that they were relevant. And our FTR is as relevant now as they ever have been, lose or win. So I don't think it's going to hurt FTR to lose. As a matter of fact, a tag team like FTR losing actually probably kind of helps the development of that team in the long run. Because I don't think a lot of people look at it that way. They think of losses as a bad thing when sometimes it can be used as a tool to boost them. So, but yeah. So we're right. There's so many examples of that. And AEW has a really good way of doing that. Same with what I said about Miro, Bryan Danielson. If Miro loses, they're going to be telling a story for that. It's not just going to be him, oh, he lost, fuck him. Like, we're never going to talk about this again, like other places. So, yeah. So Next up, we have Darby Allin with Sting versus MJF with Warlow, and that's a determining. That's a thing too. Is that they made sure to mention those two would be with those two wrestlers at ringside. This one's tough. Again, like the Jericho conversation, I feel like MJF needs the win more because Darby can bounce back. He's a good guy. It's okay. He's a maniac. So if he loses, he's still going to look good losing. MJF, and shout out to who was that on our Twitter, had mentioned that they had been catching up on our show and wanted to know if MJF needed the win or not. Let me see if I can find that real quick. So, oh yeah, it was from Clint, I believe. Oh no. I'm sorry. It was at Rush Ruined. LOL. I don't know. FTW Hausen. On Twitter, but he said he had been catching up on the show and said, do you think MJF needs wins to solidify him as a main event player, or is his heel work enough to make him believable as a main event player? And we kind of went a little back and forth. Join in on that discussion. It's on my Twitter at Lucha Chris TV. I almost said at BFR Lucha Chris. Old school. And at, and why not stop over and say hello to Patrick at Patriot Pat _1776. So anyways,
you can see what I did last night. I went and saw the fucking monkeys.
I saw that. Hey, we're the.
It was awesome.
We're the
like
podcast.
They're like 900 years old, little old men. Okay, anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go with MJF.
God damn it, we're tied again.
Yeah. And again, and per that discussion with Hush, I think he wins either way because he's so good at being a piece of shit. Like he's so much of a classic pro wrestler in the sense that people, the same with Dan Lambert. Like, and he's not a pro wrestler, obviously, but the ability to I love Dan Lambert. I think he's amazing.
He gets it.
But I was as loud, if not louder, than anyone in that crowd in Kansas City screaming, "Shut the fuck up," even though I could listen to him fucking talk for an hour. And that to me is the epitome of what this business is supposed to be. Like, it's before the smart mark bullshit. Like, yeah, we love the guy, but it's because we fucking love hating him. And MJF is that same guy. He could never wrestle a day in his life and would still have an entire mountain of heat. And that's what makes a good wrestler. It's not just his ability in the ring. I think he should start piling up some wins eventually, but if he wins via fuckery, that's a whole nother story. But yeah, I think MJF is gonna should win this one, but if he doesn't, I won't be upset because he's gonna bounce back. Either one of these two are gonna bounce back no matter what. So,
well, I was thinking because both of them are coming off losses.
Yep.
At the land All In
even playfield.
So it's not like one needs the win more than the other based on pay-per-view records. Are both coming off losses.
Exactly.
My big thing is MJF only wrestles like 6 times a year.
Yeah, something like that.
He needs more reps in the ring. I mean, he's good, but he's
not great.
We need to see him more in the ring.
He's not a great wrestler. He's a good wrestler.
No, he's good, but what's getting him over is his character, promo skills.
Yeah, as a whole, the character of MJF is what works best, and is what it's what is ultimately putting him in the position he's in. Because he's not a fantastic wrestler. He's a good enough wrestler to be on TV and have these high caliber matches, but he knows what he's doing outside of just being a fantastic. He's not Bryan Danielson level of good, but he is a great character for pro wrestling, and it's a very old school approach. Next up, we have CM Punk versus Eddie Kingston. I'm going CM Punk because I think we have to at this point. And like you said earlier, I 100% agree. Eddie's going to look like a fucking badass regardless. And Punk you know, obviously they're telling a story with Punk right now with this whole coming back and wrestling some the not necessarily the young guys, because Eddie's not young. He's been doing it for a million years now, but the ones that I feel like he thinks needs it the most. And which I appreciate. But I think Punk is going to go over. Words.
Win.
He's going to win.
I'm going Eddie. I'm going heart over head. I know Punk's gonna win, but I'm loving Eddie right now. And
I agree.
Yeah, I can't go against it. He is just like Casey will tell you, when I was watching when we were watching WWE, we would do match cards and stuff, and I would never bet against Drew.
Right.
I absolutely love Drew Mack.
I get it.
So there are just some people. I absolutely love Moxley. So there are some people that I cannot
I got
go
you.
against. And Kingston is one of them.
Thing is, as much as this feud is blown up and they've blown up on each other and there's this big battle, I think because of that, when Punk wins, there's going to be that giant show of respect at the end between both of them, unless, which I don't think it'll be Punk, but unless they decide to flip one heel in the midst of that, and that's a totally different story. I don't think that's going to happen, though. I think they're both too loved to do that to either one of them just yet. It's obviously not time yet for Punk, even though I think it is. But he's still got some time before he does that. I feel like he should do that if he ever finally gets a chance to win the title, and he goes in as the one that people want to see win, but does a double turn of some kind and wins the title as the heel they didn't want. They wanted Punk to win as the face, that kind of thing. Like, I think that would be epic. But yeah, so I'm going to go with Punk. You got Eddie Kingston. We're both going to be winners, you and I, on that one, because that's going to be a fucking great match. Next up, we have Christian Cage and Jurassic Express versus the Super Click, Adam Cole and the Young Bucks. Man. So, per my Omega, see, this could go obviously many ways, but based on how I had approached the Omega match and where this is on the card, I feel like either Omega losing the title will most definitely start the implosion of the Elite or the Click, Super Click, which would carry on into this match. But Christian Cage, Jungle Boy, and Luchasaurus are very hot faces in the company right now. Man, you go ahead. What do you got on this one? Because I can't.
Okay, so I was kind of thinking about this. So as much as I love Jurassic Express and Cage, I am going to go with Super Click. Here's my reasoning on it. I see Adam Cole getting the win. I see Adam Cole getting the pin.
Yeah.
I think if they did it right, they would have Adam Cole pin Christian. And then, because he's the top dog of that team.
Yep.
Then I would have, then later on in the night, Kenny Omega loses. I say through, they try to do some shenanigans and stuff. Hangman comes out on top. If fucking Dark Order comes out and helps and stuff. Adam Cole tries to help Kenny. And it doesn't work. I don't think they're going to do the Adam Cole swings at Hangman ducks and he hits Kenny. I don't think they're going to do that. I think he's going to try to help Kenny, but Kenny's still going to lose. And then after that, Adam Cole's going to be like, what the fuck? I did all that for you when you couldn't even, and then the shine is going to be taken off Omega.
See, and I think you're onto something there. But first of all, who are you going to take the win then? Oh, you said the Super Click.
Oh, right? Yeah, I said Click.
So I'm going to go with Super Click. And I wish I would have said that first because I don't want to think people to think that you swayed me on this. But you made a very valid point.
I'm very persuasive. Look at me.
It's that beard, man. So because we just had this discussion 20 minutes ago, Cole being the ex-leader of all of these factions of the past, there's going to be a little of a riff, and Omega is going to feel threatened. And knowing Adam Cole, he's also real cocky, and so he's like, maybe it'll be a little bit of a slow burn, but Adam Cole over time is going to hold that fucking loss over Omega's head. And now he's got the Young Bucks with him. And then there's always the possibility of Bobby Fish. He could be making the new Super Click. And so it kind of separates the players a little bit. And that makes it a new product, because the Super Click wasn't really a thing. It was always Bullet Club or the Elite. So the fact that they're calling this the Super Click, and maybe that was a term used before. I don't know. I didn't watch Ring of Honor back then, but that's a very interesting take. And so, yeah, I think I'm going to have to go with the Super Click as well. That's a that's interesting storytelling.
Yeah. And I can see the slow burn and stuff. And when they're doing interviews and Kenny's like, blah, blah, blah. And then Adam's like, yeah, like how you lost the title.
And that can work its way into a fucking Kenny Omega face turn down the road, because I wouldn't. That's
what I'm thinking. They kick him out. And I mean, who knows? Because rumor is that KO and KO, both KOs, their contracts are up, soon.
Yeah. Soon.
They might come in and, reform Mount Rushmore, Bullet Club, Super Click, Elite, Undisputed Era,
Hot take. I don't want to see Kevin Owens in AEW.
Really?
Not really. Problem is, I know what he would do there would be different than what I know him of in WWE. He would be able to go back to his roots a little bit, but I'm going to be honest, I don't care. Like, I'll enjoy it when it happens, but I don't care.
Casey, the wife, Lucha Case, she brought up a good point. She said that basically Kingston is AEW's version of KO, 100%. But he's got the freedom to be he's not the family guy, so he's not dad, like that. Like Kevin Owens is a nice guy, and so is Kingston, obviously. But I know exactly what. But he also, he doesn't have the reins of Vince and Johnny Ace and all them telling him, and Bruce Pritchard telling him what to do. Yep. He's got more freedom. So yeah, bringing KO in. Okay, bringing KO in. It would just be I don't know, a great value Eddie Kingston at that point. No offense to KO.
No, I totally get what you're saying, man. Like, I love Kevin Owens. Don't get me wrong. I fucking love him. And I loved Kevin Steen. But like I said, I'll enjoy it if it happens, but it's not on my wish list by any means.
Yeah. So, I mean, he could go to Impact. He could go to Japan.
He could take a break for a while. He wants to hang out at home with his family for a while,
his kids are young too.
Come back, do whatever you want at that point. But he could go to Japan and probably do better than anywhere. But moving on from there, we got Pac and Cody Rhodes versus, which is weird, sort of. I get it though in this match, versus Malachi Black and Andrade El Idolo. Man, I got to go with Malachi and Andrade on this one. Not because I'm a huge Malachi Black mark, but because, again, I feel like Malachi specifically needs a win. He although his feuds have been really cool, and Cody is, I don't care what anybody says, I fucking love Cody Rhodes. But I feel like Malachi and Andrade need it more than Cody. Pac is a different story, but again, Pac can kind of do no wrong, so a loss isn't going to hurt him, in my opinion. And Cody, obviously, it won't hurt him because Cody's the example of what I'm trying to say about wins and losses and storytelling. Because every time Cody loses, it turns into another element of his story, of his character. Like, I took this loss. How am I going to grow from that? That's what Cody does. Whether he takes it in a negative direction or a positive direction, he uses his wins and losses. And I think that's the example that's set in the company altogether, is that nobody has really lost any matches in AEW. Like they all mean something. So I'm going with Malachi Black and Andrade.
I'm going with Malachi and Andrade as well. And I think, yeah, like you were saying, I think this needs to be done to push Cody's story.
It's going to push a lot of stories, I think.
I wouldn't be surprised if you see it might not be right away, but could see an Andrade face turn because people do love him.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's an interesting one.
I don't know. It could be planting the seeds for it, or they could be teaming him up with Malachi to be like, no, stop cheering him. He's supposed to be a heel.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, I don't know where this is on the card, but because according to the list I'm looking at, it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But I don't think that's the order of the card because
because they would because you wouldn't have the world title match.
I don't know.
One of the opening matches.
They've done that. They're going with one of the hottest storylines as the main event if that's the case. But then why wouldn't you do Christian Cage, Jungle Express, and the Super Click as the main event? Or so who knows? We'll find out obviously on Saturday, right? Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. See, man, it sucks. I have to work Saturday night, so I'm probably gonna buy the discounted pay-per-view and watch it when I'm off on Sunday. Because I'm still gonna get it. I have to, and I would buy it that night from Bleacher if I didn't have to work. But
I'll be watching it live and live tweeting. So Chris, stay off Twitter.
I'm gonna try my fucking best. Otherwise, I may screw up and buy it and watch it from my phone at work, but I don't want to do that because I'll just buy it for like $20 instead of the $50. So yeah, that's the Full Gear card. That's our predictions for Full Gear. I can't wait. I think it's tomorrow as well. Banned from Ringside's episode will drop, and I think they're doing predictions as well. So I'm actually kind of curious as to what they predict. Man, we're supposed to do a what if, like I said, but we're at an hour already.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be a dick and I'm going to do this what if anyway, but it's going to take like 3 minutes. You ready?
Okay.
All right. And you can chime in if you'd like to, but I think you're going to agree.
I'm glad I can speak on our show.
Yeah, right? I'll allow it. I'm going to make that into a t-shirt now. I'll allow it. So my what if for the week that I decided to sneak up on Patrick, he doesn't know what it is, but it goes with the AEW discussion, is what if All In had flopped and AEW never happened? Now, to be fair, we will do this again because there needs to be, there's a whole discussion we could have. We could almost do an entire episode on this. But because we're short on time and because I'm in the spirit of being kind of feisty,
sassy.
I'm being very sassy right now. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm like a snake, a sassy snake. So what if AEW had flopped? Well, one, we probably wouldn't have Sideways in Time because I refuse to have a podcast that only is about dog shitting all over WWE and their bullshit product. I also think the only positive that could have happened from this is that maybe NXT hadn't changed, but I doubt that too. They would have done that anyway. And yeah, so basically what if WWE or AEW hadn't happened? We'd still be either watching wrestling or we wouldn't be watching wrestling anymore. I think that's pretty much what it comes down to for a fan like me.
I think I wouldn't have, I'd just be watching WWE. I wouldn't have had any interest in there is no AEW, but I wouldn't have had any interest in Ring of Honor or Impact or MLW or GCW or New Japan or anything like that.
I would have kept up on them, but I wouldn't have probably watched them.
I would, it would have been more of a new guy debuts in NXT, and I'm like, oh, who's this guy? Oh, he came from Impact, and
right.
Yeah, but yeah, I wouldn't have, I would have just stuck with the network and, and would have just been the happy little minion.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We would have all been making excuses as to why we still watch Raw and SmackDown.
I don't even think I'd be making excuses because there wouldn't be an alternative. So I'd just be like, I just watch wrestling because I like, I watch WWE because I like wrestling. I watch football because I watch NFL because I like football. It would just be that kind of thing.
I'd still be going to Journey Pro shows. I'd still be going to Glory Pro and Anarchy shows. Like I would still be doing my indie thing because I just love that community. I love that atmosphere. But as far as Raw and SmackDown, I might be watching it right now. I might. But I highly doubt it. I'd be keeping up with what's going on the internet and Twitter and all that. Sure. Shit. I don't even know if my fucking Twitter account would still be Lucha Chris. You know, at that point, I probably would have just turned it into a movies and video game platform. Like literally AEW, and this is going to sound like the markiest mark thing I can possibly say. AEW kept me interested in pro wrestling right as soon as I was getting ready to completely fall out of it again. So, what if AEW hadn't happened? Fucking that's what.
Yeah, you would have no Patriot Pat, no Lucha Chris, and I wouldn't get all the way up to 150 followers on Twitter.
Yeah, and I'd be at like
hint,
or whatever it is. Yeah, hey,
nudge.
Everybody, you see that little
follow
the little @ down there? It says @PatriotPat_1776. First of all, this man is a comedian. Second of all, he's a fucking veteran. Third of all, because he's a comedian, he's actually kind of funny sometimes. Sometimes. Fourth of all, he fucking has some great hot takes. Fifth of all, I retweet his stuff sometimes. And sixth of all, so does Excalibur. So all I'm saying is he's a fucking interesting follow. And you know what? You should follow him. Hey, everybody. Fucking thank you for joining us for episode 010. That's 10. And I almost
the binary episode.
We are in the double digits, baby. Hey, everybody. Like I said, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching if you're watching on YouTube. And as of course, Sideways in Time Network on YouTube. Jump on there, hit the subscribe button. If you're watching the videos, hit the like button. Honestly, all it does is help our channel. And again, I say it every week. The more attention we get on that YouTube channel, the more subscribers, the more we see you guys are paying attention, the more content we have to unload on you. We have so much shit we want to do on that YouTube channel that we will definitely dedicate the time to do if we notice you're paying attention. So as of right now, obviously we only have these videos up for the podcast. We also dropped the one that was the post air segment from Casey's Dynamite last week, which was really cool. It's like a 13-minute video of there's a lot on there, but it's a good time if you want to check that out. But yeah, it takes no time at all to subscribe. You never have to hit that bell if you don't want to, but subscribing helps regardless. And then of course, @podcast kinda on Twitter. Hey, Patrick, send us out of here, bud.
Okay. Well, first off, happy Veterans Day to all my fellow vets out there. Well, this will air afterwards, so I hope you had a happy Veterans Day. Secondly, and from the bottom of my heart, with all sincerity, fuck dog. And thirdly, finally,
I love you, dog.
Look at that. Fuck dog. Broken heart. And finally, remember, you see your favorite wrestler, mark the fuck out.
Or your favorite lucha. That'd be me. Hey, speaking of dog and breaking hearts, it's the real life Heartbreak Kid over here. What do you think about it, Mike? Anyway, everybody, we'll see you next week. And maybe we'll go with like a somewhat, we've actually got a new segment for you next week too. And it may be awful, but we're going to do it anyways because it's going to be fun for us. And maybe that'll help you guys have fun watching us have fun.
It's performance art. We'll just leave it at that.
It's going to be fun. It'll be interesting. And if we like it, whether it catches on or not, we're probably going to do more of them because I actually really like the idea. Other than that, we will talk to you guys next week. And as always, like he said, mark the fuck out. Later, nerds. See ya. Goodbye. Bye.
You can see up his nose.